Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the video. This time is of the NECA SDCC Batman vs. Predator set based off the comic book that happened back in 1992, 93, I believe. Point is, this book was awesome. It was drawn by, I believe it was Adam or Andy Kubert. I can't remember which Kubert, but it was drawn by them. And to this day, I still love their style. But that noir, Batman, gritty style, the way it was drawn, the way it was inked, the way it was colored, it was just something that I completely adored. So it's really cool to get this set that came to life. And it's really dope to have. So let's talk about it. Instead of me talking about comics, let's talk about the actual stuff. Let's start off with Batman. And this is his armored exoskeleton suit that helps him defeat the Predator in the end that he wears towards the end of the book. So let's get started on it. First off, there is the articulation. So the head can come up and come down. It actually has a great range of motion. And we'll get into that part in a second. I'm actually going to put that back on. But the neck, I actually think is really great. It has a great expression on it. I think the face is really dope too. I really wish that it would have come with actually another head, because even though I like the scowling face, I would have preferred a stoic one as well. But beggars can't be choosers, right? We may get another one yet. NECA is good about giving us the things we like most of the time. The emblem is really great. It's the classic yellow oval symbol. It's really nice. Now, one of the things that I was actually weirded out by is that these are soft and not attached to the actual arms that go across. It's attached to the top armor, which is very 90s of them and completely accurate. But it's really cool because it actually doesn't get in the way too much, even though the shoulder armor sits there very well. Now, the armor can come off at the top part, as you can see that I'm doing it here, but it plugs right back in with no problem. So should you actually loosen it, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Let's pop those off for a second. I'll get into that. Now, the arms are double jointed, but my arms are actually very stiff, and I am very scared of breaking it, so I'm not going to push it too far. The gauntlets rotate just a little bit. It may just have given you a little bit of wiggle room in it. There are these nice blades attached to where the normal gauntlets are, so I guess this is for attacking the Predator. Ab crunch is absolutely really nice. It's two-sectioned, so as you can see here, when you go forward, it actually has an excellent crunch on the figure. And you can actually go backwards just a little bit. So NECA actually made a really dope Batman. The armor just kind of gets in the way of him. There's this front piece of armor flap, which is soft, so it doesn't hinder anything too much. And as you can see here, he's moving up and down. Now, as far as the legs go, now this is where it gets a little tricky for me, because again, I am scared of breaking my NECA stuff. It's just me. I tend to have some bad luck sometimes, but sometimes I don't, so I just don't want to push it today. Considering this is an SDCC set. If it was a normal set, I wouldn't even mind, but it's an SDCC set. The knees are double jointed. The boots have a nice cut articulation, and you actually get an ankle rocker and toe pivot. So that's actually pretty cool. It's one of those things that I really enjoy. And the leg actually comes out and up pretty far. So this is all those things that I didn't expect it to be. I actually expected it to hinder it a bit because of the armor and mobility. But it turns out you can actually get this guy in some very comic booky poses. And that happens to be a really fun thing about it. As you can see here, he's matched up really well. He looks pretty good. He poses really, really well. Now, back to these armor plating pieces. I see what they were going for, and is actually quite accurate to the comic. I just hate the fact that they come off so easily. Now, there we go. Now, you can plug them on at any point, and they'll stay on. But any movement coming from the outer of the leg, and they'll pop right off. But as far as poses go, they mostly hold. My right leg one does not hold, but my left one holds pretty well. So it's pretty weird that only one holds and the other doesn't. I would prefer to not have these, but it does complete the look. Maybe I'll take them off for photos. You don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. So there's also the nice soft cape, and mine's got a little wet, so now it's a little wrinkly. But I would like this to be wired, but I'm a wired cape guy. But this actually feels really nice. Like, the material on this is absolutely fantastic that NECA chose. So even if I wanted to hide that missing leg piece like that, I could totally do it while wrapping him up in his cape like this. So it's actually pretty nice. Now, before I go further, I actually want to touch on his accessories, and then we're going to go over the Predator. Now, Batman doesn't come with much, but he does come with some cool stuff that is pretty accurate towards the book. Let me stand him straight up, because that pose is not going to hold without the leg armor falling 8 million times like that. I think that may be my only gripe with him. I'm probably going to keep the leg armor off, because as you can see, I'm having trouble just keeping it on. I may sticky tack it. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So let's leave you there. We'll let you look cool. And we're going to... Let's talk about his accessories as I try to get him to stand on my lopsided diorama. So, Batman doesn't come with much, but he does come with things that are pretty cool and accurate to what he was seen with. Now, there's the helmet visor, which you see all the time. This does not stay on too well for me. It could just be me. But just like the leg armor, it pops off everywhere, and it's a little annoying, which is why I don't keep it on. But it does complete the look and makes it look absolutely fantastic. As you can see here, he looks really great with that visor on. I may sticky tack it down. I don't know. We'll see how it happens. I just don't want to glue it because gluing it means it's a permanent fix. I'm not a fan of that. Then you get one alternative hand. This hand is for holding his heavy sedation tranquilizer, which is this tiny little weapon here. As we know, Batman doesn't like guns, but he'll use the tranquilizer in times of stuff like this. He doesn't like to call things guns. Tranquilizer fits in very well in the hand. And then you get the metal baseball bat, which is literally what he beat the Predator with at the outside of Wayne Manor in the book. And it even comes with a little bit of Yaoja blood splatter, which is really, really nice. So when you're doing photos for this, just keep in mind that Batman beat Predator with a baseball bat. It's one of the coolest things you can say. Batman beat Predator. Not Big Red, but he beat the Hunter is what they called him in the book. So the Hunter. Now, that covers pretty much Batman's part. Now we're going to cover the other cool guy, which is the Hunter Predator. Now, I guess we call him Batman Hunter? The Gotham City Hunter. Let's call him that, the Gotham City Hunter. And the reason why that is because there's also another Hunter out there with that title. They're all Hunters, but, you know, classification-wise. This Predator, I actually love this look. Outside of the updated rendition of him, color-wise, I think he's really close to the comic, what was drawn by the Kubert, or a Kubert. I can't remember which one it is at the time. And this is really dope. I love the skin tone, the pattern. Everyone knows lately I've come up to love, absolutely love the Predator stuff from NECA. So this guy is actually really, really a lot of fun and really cool. Now, there's bicep swivel, there's double jointed arms, there's swivel here at both of the wrists, which is very, very nice. And the arms do come up. I have to heat these up because when the armor gets soft, it allows you to shove it in placement-wise right here inside the shoulder. So you got to be a little careful with that. But the arms also rotate very far up and backwards or down, depending on how you want to go about it. The head articulation is also very nice. So when you want to get into crouching poses, he can actually look up and look down, tilt left and right. One of the things I really love is this mask color with his eyes. I think it really works opposite of Batman very, very well. Now, let's get this guy into a nice, decent pose. As far as the ab crunch goes, as you can see here, you can go forward and it can rotate side to side, which is always excellent for me, especially with a Predator. The legs can go out, which is something I very much enjoy on these. You can go forward and it's double jointed. So when you want to get those crazy good poses that you see on comic book covers and things like that, or just cool stuff like this. Simple things like this actually go a long way for me because we come from a time where we don't get Predator toys that can do this. So this is actually really cool to just do a basic pose. I mean, it just looks cool to do this with these guys. Now, ankle pivot is actually pretty nice as well too. Considering it starts way up here and it's part of a larger foot, he can actually balance pretty well because of that, which is really, really dope. Especially now in this lopsided diorama. So, this is really, really nice. I'm always scared he's gonna fall. Now, the things that he comes with is actually pretty cool too, because you get the unmasked head of the Hunter, which we're gonna focus on right now. And I think he has really cool yellow colored eyes. And this face is actually really painted really, really well. I love this. You get his plasma caster backpack. I have to double check and see if any effect parts work on this. I have to find my effect parts, which is the problem. You get a short staff or a glaive, depending on how you want to go about it. It actually extends a little bit, so that way you can put the hand on it. You get a smart disc, and the smart disc can actually be held in a storage unit. Yes, it can work. It works in there. And last but not least, you actually get two more other hands. So you get a hand for holding the smart disc. That's the hand for holding a weapon. And you get an open palm one, an attack hand, or action hand as you want to call it. Pretty cool stuff. Now, you get all of this in the 2-pack, which I think is pretty dope. The Predator alone is worth it, but it's very nice to have another different type of version of Batman you normally would not get. So it's really cool to see this. So, oh wait, let me stand them straight up so you can see what they look like next to each other. One of the things I worry about is that Batman may be too big, but with this armor, I guess you can give him the extra couple inches, right? So let's take a look at these guys. I don't know why my focus is all over the place, guys. I do apologize for that. Oh, no, no, no. This is actually pretty good. Even if Batman was a big guy, you can claim the Hunter was a bit smaller. But, again, I like these two. These actually came out to be a really nice set together, and I'm glad we got it. Even if they released this Predator single pack, I was going to buy it. So the Batman is pretty much a bonus for me and a very pleasant surprise. If you are a big comic book fan or just a fan of huge crossovers like this would probably be one of the things you would very much like. But if you are just looking for the Predator, you'll get a nice bonus in the Batman. Not to say you necessarily will or will not like it. I personally do. And I didn't expect to like it, and I ended up liking it. Oh, one more thing. Like most of them, you can actually extend his blades, and I've cut my finger. So you can extend his blades. And you can open up the self-destruct sequence on his other arm. Some of those things I sometimes miss. Now, real quick, we're going to go over size comparisons. Let's start with Batman first, because this may hit a little harder. So with Batman, when you compare him to a Mezco, he's actually gigantic next to most other things. So this Batman is pretty much only going to scale with other NECA related stuff or NECA like things, because Mezco is one of the bigger ones and it still towers over them with no problem whatsoever. So I actually like this Batman a lot to actually go up against the Predator. Here he is next to an articulated Icons. Here he is next to an SH Figuarts. And as you can see, Batman is seriously no joke in terms of height. He is definitely NECA scaled and NECA scaled only. If you want to compare him to a Mythic Legions, those guys are actually 7 inches as well. And he still tends to tower over those guys as well. So continuing on with size comparisons, I guess we'll start with next up a Mythic Legions character. So here's my Elf Ranger with the custom CJ cloak. As you can see, the NECA stuff is still very much larger. That Batman is probably the largest scale Batman that I have right now. Here he is next to a Hasbro Lightning Collection Red Ranger. Dino Red, for those of you that want to be exact. Here he is next to a Marvel Legends Spider-Man. And as you can see, he pretty much towers over these guys, right? Next up, we're going to compare it to, I don't even know. Oh, let's do a Joker, just in case you want to see what Jokers are like next to it. So Joker is still tiny as well, so it just won't work in that same scale. Force Perspective might help you, but this one may be a little bit... Nah, I think Force Perspective definitely will help here. Change my mind on that one. I don't think we've seen up against the Superman from the opposite pack. And then with the DC Essentials, we have Cyborg Superman, which is very close in size to these guys. So you can definitely get a nice feel for this one, size-wise. Although not as wide, not as big, can definitely fill in the gap for you should you not get the Superman. What else do I have? Oh, here he is next to an alternative size Bad Blood Predator from the 2-pack. And this guy actually looks a little bit bigger. Let me see exactly. Wow, yeah, but Bad Blood is actually a tad bit bigger. So Bad Blood definitely fits the whole vibe of him. So even if you kill the Hunter, you go after Bad Blood, blah, blah, blah. You know, make your own story, right? I think all we have next left to do is put it up next to the Alien so you guys can see what it's like. So the Alien is still crouching down, but let's say I put up the legs a little, put down the tail. Even if I have him crouching down, he's immediately taller than Batman. He's gigantic. I like the feel of this huge alien. Hopefully I can get around to reviewing this sooner so I can have the sets close to each other, but if not, that's fine. Next up, we're going to do the Predator, right? So Predator size-wise, we've seen him a few times in the video, so now we're going to compare him to other stuff. Here he is next to an SHF. Here he is next to a Mezco Batman. I think this size-wise looks a lot better than the other one, but you know, it's up to you to kind of do what you want to do with yours, right? Here he is next to an articulated Icons. Let's see, get you stand straight up. That same Joker from earlier, how he would look next to him. And the reason why I'm doing them separate, because I realize when you put them together, it may fogle out the focus a little bit. And I invented Fogel just now. I have no idea what that actually means, but context-wise, I knew exactly what I meant. There he is with a Red Ranger, Mythic Legion's Elf Ranger-wise. And as you can see, size-wise, he's actually pretty big, right? I think what I'm going to do next is put him up next to, what was it? Oh, here he is. I don't know why I can't find anything right now. But just in case you want to do some crazy crossover like with Goblin Slayer, here he is with Goblin Slayer. Right? And there's one more thing I do want to touch upon, which is the Superman and the Cyborg Superman. Because those guys are actually pretty big, and I'm pretty sure they can handle a Predator pretty well, even though they're pretty fearsome. So these guys actually look pretty big next to him as well. Overall, I really like this set. I was pleasantly surprised by Batman. Despite some of the parts being really loose on him and the joints being a little tight, the Predator really did it for me. So I really enjoy him mostly out of the set, no lie. And if you're a big fan of the NECA stuff, I highly advise you get it for your own various reasons. Or skip on it if you don't want it. It's totally fine to miss out on things if you don't want them. In the meantime, guys, hope you enjoyed. Hope you found it informative. And most of all, guys, hope you do good, be good, drink your water. Later.